Welcome back to Slam Shenanigans, guys. So this project here today is to make a base for my LT15 mill, which I've had for a couple years and have yet to do it. So you're looking at the finished timbers here, and I'm going to do an intro kind of after this in the video. So kind of join along with me and we'll get going here. First, I got this little deer here that was stuck in my wife's garden, and she was actually at the gate ready to get out. She ended up going back inside and bouncing off the things till I came around the backside. Anyways.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Slam Shenanigans. If you're new to the channel, thank you for coming by. And this channel is basically, I started it to try and document what I do around my property for my dad to see. Unfortunately, he's about 93 years old and he's doesn't have a great attention span anymore. So it's kind of just me documenting what I do around here. It's a mixture of things from sawmilling and wood cutting to tractor work, dozer work, excavator stuff. Just typical stuff you do on a rural property. So we got about 19 acres here in the western slope of the Sierra Nevadas in California. And so today's project, which I started yesterday, and this intro is kind of in process here. I haven't been doing intros a lot lately, so I figured I'd switch it up and do it again. And I'm starting the intro kind of midway through the project. So you've already seen me, or you will see me. Sorry, it's kind of hard to get it straight in the head here. Milling this out of one log. The cross braces actually had a couple of timbers before, but if you're a miller, you kind of you know what this is. So I have an LT15 Woodmizer, and I've had it for a couple years now, and I've been meaning to put it on a base, something stable, since I got it, and I should have done this day one. Should have been my first project. Would have saved me a whole lot of re-leveling almost every project I've done. But we're finally getting to it, so thank you for joining. If you like the content, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to grow this thing to where I can maybe get some better equipment and produce some better content for you. So thanks for stopping by. Enjoy.
All right, so here we go. First thing I'm going to do is get some sister joists onto the 6x6 posts here. Excuse me. So there's two, one's 11'8" and one is about 7 foot. And so what I'm doing is joining these together, these long runners here. I got this design and measurements from another channel. Forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, but Joe Saljo Juan. And he gave me the dimensions and stuff, and a great channel. He's got an LT15. And so I'm kind of setting up and temporarily securing these in.
So I don't call it sludge like Sawing with Sandy. Great channel, by the way, if you guys want to check that out. But mornings like this in the fall, definitely love my coffee. I drink Black Rifle Basic Black, which is pretty strong. That and occasionally Death Wish. So I also like my coffee dark. Thanks.
All right, so this next section here is me laying everything out, and then eventually I'm going to drill holes through these cross timbers and then countersink them and then put the screws in. So here's where I was stopped it for a second. I was planing because my mill was not level. I had some variations in the 6x6s, so I got to admit that. So I planed about an 1/8 inch off to make them flush for the cross members. Here's where I bring out my screws. My editing's not so great. I was trying to show you what I was using. And now I'm going through and I'm drilling all the holes, as I said. And then I'm going to come back and countersink those. And so what you end up with is some 6-inch screws, 2 per each side into that. And I ended up with the finished base. So now I'm rigging up to pull the base off of the flat surface that I built it on and get it closer to the mill. And as you can see, I'm moving stuff around, and that's kind of the ultimate goal of a lot of these projects, is try and develop and organize myself to where I have enough room to work and do things. I really envy those people that are organized and can keep a clean area. As you can see, I'm constantly walking around stuff, moving things out of the way, moving tractors, rhinos, 2 or 3 times just to try and get something accomplished. But that's the ultimate goal, is to be organized and have enough room to work efficiently. So here, I'm just gonna slowly back this baby out and get her kind of lined up with the mill. And then obviously, well, maybe not so obviously if you haven't seen these before, but This is actually built upside down, so these horizontal short pieces are going to be on the ground, and the long runners are going to be what the mill is going to sit directly on. So just kind of slowly pulling her out, because there's not a whole lot of diagonal bracing on this at all. The mill actually will provide that for the total structure once I secure the legs to the actual 6x6 posts. So just taking it real slow and easy. And as you see as the video go on, I've moved the mill and the base quite a bit to get it into its final resting place, which will be about 8 to 10 feet to the right as you're looking at it now from where the mill is. So here she sits. Got her out. This was a still picture. Kind of just wanted to take a couple things I was posting on social media and a couple of my sites. Unhooking, moving the tractor around, and as you watch me hook this up and you watch the big timber to the left, you'll see that because it's so tight, I'm actually bouncing into that quite a bit with my back blade. So here I've got it flipped over, took a little finagling, get her closer to the mill. Now I got to go on the other side. And if you don't know it from my other videos, I'm actually, there's about a 6-foot drop off over there now because I had to make that levelness. Anyways. So here I need to go back for a strap, so I had to go down to the house, get it out of my truck, come on back up, reposition stuff. So I'm putting the big 3-inch strap up and over the mill. The mill is locked in with its pins, and that's not to keep the mill in place, that's to try and transfer some of the weight.
Okay, so I have the base built for the mill now. A little bit Andrew Camarata, so we'll see if it works.
Start to see the title of the video come into play here. As I said, that strap is not there to hold the mill head in place because it's actually locked in with the pins. The strap is to try and transfer some of the weight because my forks aren't long enough, even though I've got a couple offset posts in there to keep the backrest away from the mill head. I can't pick it up in the middle completely balanced. So you'll see here, as the video goes on, it does not lift perfectly level, and it does get a little sketchy. So right here, I'm contemplating in my head how far I want to go, and if this is truly what I want to try and do, or if I want to try and figure out something completely different. So I let her back down, and I'm just sitting here thinking about it. Thinking about all the Andrew Camarata videos and how he just forces stuff, and he can maybe afford to buy different things. I can't necessarily do that, so I'm getting off and looking at things and trying to figure out, is this really what I want to do? So kind of go over. It's fairly easy to move on the forks there. I'm just kind of looking at this thing, and you can see my right hand kind of nervous on the battery box there, twiddling my fingers. Because I'm really not sure at this point what I want to do. So I spent a lot of my career directing ironworker crews to lift things very, very slowly, very controlled. And, it doesn't necessarily happen that way on the ranch. But so get back in and we'll see, push her a little bit more and see what I come up with. So here we go. Got some dirt and stuff falling off the runners because this thing's been sitting in one spot for 3 years. Almost 3 years. So my goal is to try and get this up high enough to where the right hand side for me, the point farthest away, kind of comes up onto the base here. So this is it. It's pretty sketchy, but it's not full Andrew. But yeah, so the next few minutes here is going to be me kind of getting on, getting off, checking stuff, just trying to make sure that I don't do anything really stupid. So you'll see me kind of lift the one leg up there because it's kind of balanced on the forks, and I can, I'm not that strong, but I can lift it up to there. And the tractors, as you heard earlier, if you heard the revving, when I first started, it was kind of at idle, and it's just not enough power in the hydraulics, so you gotta rev it up a little bit more and a little bit more. And as you all know with tractors, the more you rev it, the faster things are. So I'm in low range first gear, trying not to do anything fast, not to move the hydraulics jerky, and to get this thing on, air quotes, safely. So, and again, you'll see me getting on and off this tractor probably, I think, 6 or 8 times. Kind of watching myself in the video. I hate that I look like I walk like an old man. I guess 56 is fairly old, but I always thought of myself as I'm still in my 30s, but not so much. So here I get the one leg up and over the first beam, and decide to come in a little bit more, and then you'll see me as the video progresses just kind of, I kind of manhandle that end up and over. I'll talk about what I do after I get that in on here in a few minutes. And you'll see me with the tractor, the steering wheel doesn't telescope, but it tilts up and down. So getting in and out, I need to push that thing up and down, which is a nice feature. It'd be a knee buster if I didn't have that from John Deere. Again, up and down. I think this might be the time off where I actually get the thing up onto the far 6x6 post there. We'll see. Maybe not. Maybe one more. I'm checking the tightness on that strap there. These mills, once you bolt them all together, are pretty sturdy. And the reason I kind of weighed the risk of not taking it completely apart in those 3 different bed sections here is because it is so stiff. But trust me, I was a little anxious about doing the lift here. So you can see that to get it up and over, the front part of the bed here is out of the screen. Like I've cut off my head on a lot of this, so I apologize for that, guys. But, so I think maybe this is the time off that I get this up and over. So I think I'm only about 4 inches off of the board there. So I think I'm able to get this up on that board, and then I'll start getting a little lower and safer. Yep, there you go. So if you can see it, that far right hand foot is actually on the 6x6 base. So this is a pretty good milestone for me here. Now I'll get back up and I'll lower this guy down, and I think I'll talk with you in the video here a little bit right after this. And she comes off, so I guess I was wrong. I forgot about that. So I'm coming down, getting off again. There goes the old fat guy around the tractor. And one more time. Hercules, Hercules. Get it up there. And so since it slipped off there, this is where I had my idea to secure this. So now I decided to reposition my camera because of my idea. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set the camera up to where you can see me working on this foot here. And what I came up with when it slipped off that last time was that, you know what, I need a pivot point. So if I just kind of secure this one foot in with a screw, I'll have a pivot point. So you'll see me go through a couple iterations here on how I do this. First I put in a fairly big bit for my big screws, thinking that I could go through some soft metal. I didn't think the metal was that hard. And as you'll see, what I'm doing here is it's spinning all over the place. It's not biting. I didn't center punch it at all. So I quickly discovered that's not going to work, and you're being a dummy, Jim. So go get yourself a center punch. So I head over to the shop, which is close in this case. Grab a center punch. Start popping a little dimple in there. Give something for the bit to bite into. And here we go again. But guess what? This bit sucks. I should probably buy a $200 set of bits here one of these days, but yeah, this one's junk, so let's go get a better bit. So I've got some bulk bits that are a little bit better. They're not great, but so I put that in there. And we're gonna start with a small one too. Like, let's be smart, drill a pilot hole. So I do that. And I'm gonna try and talk over this because I had a little bleep moment there. Because guess what? I broke the little one. Yep. Anyways. So we'll put the big crappy bit back in. Actually, I'd take it back. I didn't go for a better bit. I went back for the smaller bit for a pilot hole. Better bit's coming. So here I'm kind of moving it. I'm getting a little broken bit out of there. Putting her back to where I want it. Starting with the big crappy bit again. And here's where I realized this thing sucks. So, yeah, no. Let's go get the bit, the new bit that I was talking about earlier. So we're back. And we're gonna change this crappy bit out and throw it out. And we're gonna go with the bulk bigger bit. And if you saw, I got actually a little bit of drill juice there too. So I'm trying to get smarter as I go ahead here. Lube it up, put the new bit in, push her down, and pop through. We're good. All right, now grab a big screw and the impact, and voila. Try this again.
Okay, so my hopes are, by anchoring that one side, I'll be able to pivot this to at least get the mill set on the base. And I know it's too far this way, but once I get it set, then I can slide it that way. I'll remove that lag screw and slide it this way slowly and controlled. Like I said, I'm not quite as sketchy as Andrew. He just kind of goes for it. I don't want to damage my mill. I don't have that much money to fix it, so let's see what we can do. Love Andrew though.
So here we go. I kind of wish I could hear the video background when I'm doing a voiceover, but coming down a little bit, and it's working. We're pivoting. That's what I was hoping for. It's sketchy, not as sketchy as the other stuff, but we're getting there. And it's coming down. Coming down. And do I have it? What do you know? All right.
I think I'm going to call that success. It's obviously too far this way, and you'll see the feet are all out of level, but that's because I had it leveled. Well, I had it sitting on very, very poor supports. Not the way to do it. So previous way was not the way to do it, but now it's on a solid base. I will straighten it up, square it up, push it back on centered to where all the legs are over the cross supports. Get it anchored down, and then level it right, and it should stay level from this point on. So, and then so I used the design off of for the base, off of, forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, but Joe Solo Juan, Joe, older guy with an LT15. Great source of knowledge. Love his channel too. So anyways, go back into time lapse, and away we go.
So back into time lapse, and here I'm taking the strap off. It was my weight transfer strap, And getting the tractor out of the way, blowing some of the dust off of the adjustment knots. And unfortunately, I hit my camera there walking around. I didn't realize it and then caught it. So you kind of missed me straightening it up. But now you can see it's a lot more straight on the base. And what I'm doing is kind of trying to get all the feet back down level. And I do this in a couple stages. I wasn't totally planning it out. But here's a couple of the still shots that I took for social media in the meantime before the video came out. And here I'm moving it back now that it's all straight on there. I took that one pivot point out, used the tractor to move it back, get it centered up on the cross supports so the legs are on there. And now I'm starting the adjustment process. And I think what you're going to see is several times of me going in and around this, trying to get them all even at first. And then I decided I wanted to go a little bit lower because I was used to this thing sitting on the ground for almost 3 years. And so it seems quite high to me. But so basically what I did is I went around and adjusted everything to it's pretty much high up in terms of the foot without hitting my my actual log clamps, the cross member for log clamp. And I'm trying to get all this in a consistent fashion.
So this is the moment of truth. If the base is level, which I think is somewhat level, it's cocked this way, but that's okay. But if it's somewhat level, I've adjusted all the feet to pretty much the same height within 1/8 of an inch. So when I let this jack off, I'm hoping that the majority of the feet touch and it will be basically parallel to the top of the base. We'll see. So I'm pretty happy. So pretty much all these, that one might be a little, I think it's touching. These are all pretty much touching. With the exception of this corner up here, which I'll measure it again. Maybe I was just wrong. Maybe this corner of the, if you can see, that one's got looseness. So I'll measure that one again. Two things, either I measured wrong when I set that foot, or that corner is dipping. So we're gonna find out. But basically we're pretty dang close. So now I'm going to probably attach the two ends, get that foot a little closer, attach the two ends, and then push this whole thing this way. And then I'll use the tractor to level all this, clean up the remainder of this stuff here. And then the mill's gonna end up over there. All right.
So here I'm starting on that corner, as you saw, that was a little bit off. And then I'm gonna go around the whole thing and make sure that these feet are tight and then also secure them. So I'm putting one screw through the small hole. It's just a small screw for now. As you can see here, moving the rhino again, picking up some of the wood. Again, the whole goal is to get things cleaned up to where I can work efficiently and have room to work. But so now that I've got everything really leveled and make sure that all the feet have pressured on them so that there's no bouncing if you throw a log on there, I'm kind of cleaning up some of the big chunks. And then I'll start on doing some tractor stuff. So now I got the made sure the head unit was locked in again. And I think from here I go to the tractor work. Just get some of the last pieces of sticks out of the way. And again, if I could listen to background noise, I'd know if I was starting that tractor. Right now I'm looking at a screen with no noise. So trying to go off memory here, guys. I'm seeing some shadows there on the left. Lots of dead time. I apologize for that. Thought I had all that kicked out, but yep, there you see my box blade come up. Now we're back in the groove. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm getting the tractor over here on the other side, and as I think I mentioned earlier, that everything you see to the right that's level, I had to make that. That's about 5 to 6 feet of fill with some very natural big boulders you saw in another video for a retaining wall. And again, always maneuvering around things. That's the goal here, is to get this mill in a spot where I've got a lot of room to maneuver with logs coming in. I got room to come into my shop and just make the whole area a little bit more usable. So now that this thing is pretty much level and secured to the base, I can just kind of come in here and put my forks under the base and move the mill and the base in one unit. And you see those two 6x6s there, that's so that my backstop doesn't touch the mill. The forks will go under the base, and then the two 6x6s on my forks will provide a buffer to where I don't hit the backstop on my mill, and I just push from the backstop to those 6x6s to the actual base. So I'm just taking it slow and easy and making sure that everything looks good. I'm seeing if the forks are actually under the far side of the base, if I can use my rollback there to tip so that I'm not pushing the base into the dirt and trying to lift the far side here. And what I need to do first is I'm moving this entire mill and base to the left in your screen. And then that'll give me some room to do tractor work here and clean up the last bit of what isn't level and clean, because that mill had been sitting right about where my tractor, the midpoint of my tractor is, for, like I said, 3 years, so there's a lot of garbage in there. And you'll see I'm pushing some dirt, but it's okay. It held up pretty good. I did end up, when I was doing the final positioning with the excavator, after I got it over there on the right, I had to pull it towards us as we're looking at it right now. And I did pull some screws out of there, but I re-secured those. And it all turned out okay. You'll see in the end. Yeah, I'm just getting rid of those 6x. And then I'll start doing some tractor work. I've actually bent my lower control arms a couple times, and once you bend them once, they're kind of get soft and malleable, and then it's real easy to bend them again. As if you watched any of my other videos, you know I got a lot of rocks here, and that's what happens. I catch a rock or something. What you just saw there was that big old 2x6 that I pulled up out of the dirt that looked real dark. That was one of the planks that my mill was sitting on. So you'll see as the video goes on, I got a couple of those, but yeah, I just had to do the final adjustments, trying to get as much of that right side of the blade up as possible, but I was already bottomed out, so I think I need a top and tilt kit to get some more movement out of there. I don't really want to buy another set of lower control arms because they're just going to bend again too with them on a rock, but that's what you got to deal with up here in the mountains. So here's a couple still shots, just kind of the way I left it. I think that was kind of towards the end of the day. Not sure if I kept working that day or not, but anyways, so now I'm back to moving the mill. So at this point, I'm trying to grab it and drag it back. So I had to get at least drug a little bit back to where I get my tractor on the other side there. And this is where you can watch that log in the back there. That's a big, heavy fir. And because I have no room, I kept bouncing out with my my back blade. And so here I'm kind of getting her back into the final position. And this is where she sat. And I got to say, I'm pretty happy with where it's at and how it's looking. And I appreciate you guys watching and hanging out with this video. I know it was kind of long, but it was a great project. And I'm very happy with the way it turned out. And I'm looking forward to milling a whole bunch on this new base. All right, guys, so here's a picture of the first log on the mill that I'm going to saw up. This is the next project that I'm going to work into. It's going to be a very large tabletop for a picnic table. But again, I appreciate you guys watching. It's beautiful cedar here. Please hit that subscribe button.